right, here we are, Inside Fitness Radio with a very special guest, our friend, Amer the Hammer. What's going on, Amer?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming out here. We also have Costa. Costa's on the Inside Fitness Radio team. Costa, say hi to everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Costa, what's your role in all this?
Sure to hang out, Terry. I'm just your foil.
Are you the sidekick?
This is the sidekick.
All right, I love it. So you're going to be asking some questions and grilling myself and also Amer here. Amer's in the hot seat.
Let's go.
All right. So Amer, let's start off with how did you get into all this? How did you get into fitness? Where did it all start?
It was actually an accident. I kind of got into it by accident. I think most people do. You kind of just fall into it. I was playing football for my teenage years, and I was just in really good shape just from playing football. And then I kind of outgrew that. I started doing some fashion stuff, and I outgrew that. And then based on that, I just was trying to look for a different avenue to get into.
So what kind of fashion stuff? We talk like the Sears catalog? Like what are we going on here?
Victoria's Secret?
Yeah, come
Victoria's
on,
Secret. Yeah.
Spill the beans here.
Victoria's Secret. Stuff like that.
So what,
Bras,
when you're
panties.
It's a good issue.
I was actually doing runway stuff, a lot of like for urban brands like Ed Hardy, Smet,
Really?
things like that. Yeah.
So you were always kind of into it. And
It was just an accident. Total accident.
how did you get I guess it would be your first photo shoot? You were a competitor. I mean, tell me where that all started.
Yeah, I did a photo shoot for when I was 18 years old for a magazine that doesn't exist. And then I got published in it.
Which one was this?
Beyond Fitness.
Oh, yeah.
remember that?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's so you got published in that magazine, and then so that was kind of your first start, and then
And then
you hooked up with photographer.
I hooked up with the first person I really shot with in fitness was Arthur Arsenic.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Even to this day, myself, my clients, we shoot with him. And I got in,
So what year was this? What year are we going back to with Arsenic?
2010. 10 years.
Oh,
9
yeah,
years
because
ago.
you know what? To be honest with you, I do remember Arthur was the first guy who brought your name up to me and said, "Hey, take a look at this guy. What do you think?" and all that. And I do remember at that point too, Arthur was impressed at your age and how motivated you were.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of okay. Let's see what this guy is up to.
I like to think the story is I made Arthur famous, but
There you go. Well, I wish he was here. To rebuttal that one. But so okay, you grew up on the east end of town, obviously in Scarborough.
yeah,
Fellow Scarborough boy.
Yeah, Costa.
Yeah.
So is this like the tough part of town, or what, guys? What are we
We're the
looking
tough
at
guys.
here?
Yeah, the
It's
mean
not like
streets.
South Central Oakville, where I am at. No.
Don't hate on the borough.
Okay, so let's get into a little bit of training stuff because I know this is right up Costa's alley. And earlier we were talking about your training methods, and something I want to touch on first before getting into what you do today is when you were younger, what's some of the shit that you did that you're like, fuck, this is awesome. Pardon my French, everyone, but there's going to be cursing going on this podcast. What are things that you did when you were younger that you wouldn't even fucking do right now because you're like, this was stupid?
actually,
If there is anything.
okay, so that's a good one. The things that I was doing when I was younger were actually better for me than when I started to get heavily into fitness. So I was in really good shape playing football, and I was just kind of eating more food. I wasn't depriving myself. I was in good shape. And then when I wanted to compete in fitness, I started listening to a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about, eat little food, do a lot of cardio, all these sorts of things. And as a result of doing that, I looked worse. I felt like crap. And I think that's what happens to most people. So it wasn't even what I did before fitness. Actually, when I got into fitness, there's so much information and there's so much misinformation and crappy knowledge. And, it kind of led me down the wrong path. And it wasn't until I went back to what I originally did that everything worked the best. And that was just listening to what my body was telling me to do, how to train, how to eat. When you feel like eating, you probably should eat. Your body gives you all these signals, and instead of neglecting them, I was, originally I wasn't neglecting them. And then when I got into fitness, I was neglecting them for the sake of following someone else's guidance. And that messed me up.
So there's like so much bullshit out there, and there's a lot of good in there as well. How does someone who's just kind of getting in there figure out how to separate the fads and the marketing from the actual like good information and stuff that's going to make you better? How'd you find that? What do you tell people?
Well, when I started this is a good and a bad thing. There were no coaches at the time. There was no such thing as coaches. It's just the biggest guy at the YMCA was the guy giving the advice to everyone, right? And you kind of just listened to him and thought, okay, I guess that's what I got to do. Or you're listening to bodybuilders in magazines and guys like that, right? And trying to follow what they do. So, I think that how do you distinguish or delineate the difference between the good and the bad is just find people that have, proven success, people that have been doing it their whole lives. It's very easy to.
What are the tells in other trainers? So if you were to go talk to another trainer and you just played stupid and say, hey, you know what? I want to get into shape. What things are you looking for to see these guys are full of shit or if they're for real? Is there anything that'll be like, hey, you know what? This guy looks like
gimmick. Anything that's gimmick, anything that sells you on a dream, like there's in anything in life, like there is no easy way to do things. So if anyone's selling you on an easy way to do things, then it's probably not the right way.
All right. Fair enough. Now, earlier we were talking about your training methods, and I do want to get into this. You're saying that you've changed your method and yourself and your trainers. How many trainers do you work with? Explain to us your business model.
Yeah, sure.
Briefly.
So we have 12 employees in our business, Hammer Fitness, and so we opened a gym, which is essentially the headquarters for our business. So the majority of our coaches are online coaches, right? So they work with people all over the world. We work with people in every country of the world: Australia, Dubai, UK, anywhere you could think of, Asia. We have clients everywhere. So the model of our business is we have a specific coach for specific people. So we pair you with a coach that works best with whatever type of person you are. Some people need tough love. Some people need more encouragement. Like some people are moms, so everyone's so different. We pair, and that's why we have specific coaches, because I would be lying to you if I said I could work with every type of person, because I'm not for everyone and nobody's for everyone. Right. So anyone that is just willing to take your money essentially is a lie, because you can't just work with any type of person. Like I'm too much for a lot of people. So
really,
yeah,
okay,
you're probably surprised on that.
Now, since you brought that up, I mean, I told you I was going to put you on the hot seat today,
Okay,
and I wasn't lying. I told a couple people, several people who I was going to be interviewing today, and a lot of people say I say a lot of people say the same thing, but I've heard some things for some people. But some people want me to ask, Amer's got his style of doing things, but you rub some people the wrong way. Some people will even go as far as calling you a bit of an asshole. Now you tell
Terry,
me,
I said this in private too.
Yeah.
right before. I mean, okay, let's be honest. Right now, it was Costa.
Yeah.
But okay, so what do you have to say about this? Because
I mean, I think a lot of people hide from the reality of things in life, and I'm just very honest. And I don't want to say a lot of words to get to the right word. Like why say 15 words to get to the one word that matters?
Sure.
I mean, everybody wants to be trained in fitness, to be in a fitness competition now. Like, do you have to be really blunt with some people who don't have the genetics, physique, or whatever to go? Or you just tell them, yeah, you can put your mind to anything.
There's a lot of people that want to compete, right? Not everyone's a competitor. There's a difference. So I specifically work with higher level competitors. That's the majority of what I do. Now,
so but I heard you're pretty tough. You're not fucking around with this. Is like, because you say it, and I could kind of see it. I know you're always nice to me. You're not an asshole to me, and I don't see that part. But I do kind of realize in the sport that you're in, the dedication, the sacrifice you're going to be. I don't necessarily think that you can be essentially going, okay, Costa, you should really be taking this.
You can't be very encouraging and very nice in the sense of, it's not that I'm an asshole and I'm rude and I'm saying things that are belittling to people.
Okay. Yeah.
If people interpret my authenticity of what I'm saying to be harsh, I mean, this is not for you. And the honest truth is the sport of competing is not for everyone, and not everyone's a competitor. So people get into this because of the glamour of it. People aren't getting into, like you don't get into football and just start playing football for the fun of it. Like,
so is it a bit of a weeding out process too in your mind? Because I mean, I get it. I mean, you're obviously very confident. I went through this phase in my business where
I used to think when I lost clients, it was a bad thing, because, I take pride in my work. It's my life. And so I would think, man, like it's a bad thing. Like, I lost clients. And then I started to look at things that are more prestige, like getting to the Navy is not as hard as becoming a Navy SEAL, right? It's harder to become a SEAL. Now, 1,000 people will go through the Navy SEAL program and only 10 of them will get in, or only 10 of them will last. But when you do last, you have a special job in the world or in the military, in the army, right? So it's the same thing with this. Like, sure, not every single person is going to last, but what I'm saying to you is I'm pretty much connecting the dots for you. I'm saying you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it, this is not for you. I'm not the one making the rules. I'm just the one that's giving you the blueprint so that you can get to the goal. So essentially, we've had people that say, well, this is just, I don't think I can meet your expectations. So ultimately what you're saying to me is I don't want to be as good as I should be in order to do this. Therefore, I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean you want to show up on stage looking fat?
Well, I guess because your reputation's at stake here too, right? I mean, so you do take this personally, right?
Absolutely.
Right? Because if I come to you and say, get me in shape, and I'm not necessarily maybe doing what you want, you look at it as, well, hey, you're going to fuck me because my reputation on stake, I'm putting you out there, right?
It's not even my reputation.
Wow.
It creates a standard in my work. Like if I don't love my work because I'm not doing the good work, then it's going to perpetuate into everyone else. It's going to create like, now he's going to come to me and I'm not even going to give a shit about how he looks because you just set the standard that it's lower for everyone else.
So you got to compare that to Louis Simmons, West Side barbell training. He'll kick you out. If you're not a power lifter, if you're not fit as standards.
Some guy came to our gym the other day and said, this reminds me of West Side.
Yeah, exactly.
So what kind of, let's start with the gym. What kind of things do you not tolerate in your gym?
It's not about tolerate or not tolerate. It's really people are there to work.
What's the culture like? What's the culture?
The culture feeds itself. Here's the thing. People will think I'm an asshole, but everyone around me is a good person. Everyone's encouraging, everyone's friendly, everyone's helpful, everyone's giving, everyone's supportive. So we breed a culture of people that just want to see others succeed, people that help each other with no personal gain. Right.
Yeah, that's one thing I could see as an outsider looking in. I've been to your gala and I've been to some of the events, and I see that there's a lot of teamwork there. And the one thing that I think, I can appreciate is that, in order to build, it's good to have good people around you. So, and I can see that you've done that. I went to one of your motivation speeches. This was what, maybe 2-3 years ago, was the Mind Builder. Mm-hmm. We had one actually at the gym, and then you had one here in Oakville. Yeah. And there was about maybe 100 something people here. And I thought this was, to be honest with you, I thought this was crazy. I'm like, I got 100 people to show up on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon to hear you talk, obviously. I thought it was very intriguing. There's a lot of things that you have to say, and I think at your age, it's impressive. I will say, though, when you do talk some of these things, you're a little fast trying to keep up with it. I think
my brain works a bit faster than yours.
So, well, maybe. I guess
now he's coming back at you.
Oh, wow. Now it's going to, now we're starting. Okay.
So what's your biggest pet peeve you've been around, 10 years now. What's changed the most in your industry? How have you had to adapt to people? Like, are people want to look at shortcuts?
What do you mean pet peeve? Like, that's a very vague thing here. Like, what drives you crazy
What drives me crazy is people don't want to train hard anymore. They want to go for gimmicks.
Okay, hold on.
I want to know what he's seeing it on the front lines.
At his age, because you're
he's younger than me. Yeah.
Sorry?
30.
Now, I mean, listen, I know it cuts off millennials and all this stuff, but you're younger than me. And when you see, so what drives you crazy maybe, Costa, about the people your age or the things you see in fitness now?
See in fitness now compared to when you started, in terms of, is it harder to get people in shape? Do people not want to work as hard, or do they want to work as hard? Has it gotten better? I don't know. You're on the front lines right now.
A lot of people would say the opposite, that it got worse, but I think it got better in many ways because more people are doing it. Therefore, there's going to be more better people. So I'm focusing on the people that are better, which is a bigger pool of them now, right? There's reasons why it's not as good as it once was. And I think obviously that's social media, which allows you to, it creates a different industry ultimately. Before, if you were to compete, there was no Instagram. So you would literally pick a show. You didn't know who was going to be there. You don't even know what you should really look like, to be honest, because there was nowhere to look at that besides magazines from previous years. So you didn't know what your competition looked like. You knew nothing. All you knew was that you had to work as hard as you could and then show up on that day and hope for the best. Literally, that was it. There was no looking at other people's stuff. There was no comparing yourself to anyone. It was just literally do as much as you possibly can, because you didn't even know what the minimum requirement or the golden standard was. So all you knew was that you had to put in 100% effort, and then you show up and just hope for the best.
And one of the things you see, and you talk about 100% effort, and I want your opinion on this, with social media, is a lot of the guys come on here, and I think we all know who they are, who come on and talk about just what gear they're taking instead of what the work that's put in. So it looks like that this is all you need, but they don't. It gives people the impression that the reality is different. What do you think about that?
Well, the funny thing about that, the honest truth is the guys that look the best are not taking the most drugs. And that's the honest truth. I've worked with a 300-pound bodybuilder that takes less drugs than a men's physique athlete doing his first show, natural show.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, the honest truth is at the end of the day, it ultimately comes down to genetics. Who has the best genetics? And the guys with the best genetics are going to go the furthest. And those guys don't need to be doing the most amount of things anyways. They don't even need
how
to
you
be
tap
trained.
into those genetics too, though, right? I mean, you could have the genetics.
It's the work plus genetics, right?
Some
You'd
of
know
us-
if you had the genetics. Like if you had to take so much drugs, destroy your body, your family, quit your job, like what most people are doing, and you're not even a pro, you don't have the genetics for this. You'd know if you had the genetics for
I
this.
train. I don't have the genetics. That's why I got into coaching and
What do you think?
this
In your
podcast.
professional opinion, you think he's got the genetics to start
No.
competing?
We all know the answer
Zero.
to that. Yeah.
Zero.
Come on.
No, start
Why
now.
you got to call me out? I called myself out on
Get you
that.
some anabolic chicken?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Head down to Kuwait.
There's a certain amount of genetics to get you far, and then there's another level of genetics to get you to the top. Those guys in the top 5 of any sport are genetic.
Oh,
freaks,
I mean,
right?
yeah, you could say guys like Michael Phelps are genetically gifted in some
Usain
aspects.
Bolt. Yeah.
Okay,
But
so
I
what-
also do believe too, I mean, listen, when it comes to genetics, but there's also the will to do things. I mean, that's that X factor, right? The
It's
mind.
part of your genetic.
It's part of your genetics for sure.
It's your
But there's things you can train for, and there's things that you have a natural ability that you're genetically gifted. You know, I so happen to have decent calves.
Those
Just
are cows, not
worked them out.
calves.
Never worked them out. But yeah, no. And then I also think, you know, there's that mental aspect, but that's, you know,
Well, no sport is done right, meaning like it's dangerous in every way, right? People tear knees, they tear ankles, they tear their wrists. Every sport has a lot of cons to it because it's uncontrollable, right? You're literally pushing yourself to your capacity. So if we're talking about genetic in any sport, if you're pushing yourself as hard as you can, what are good genetics? Good genetics is your ability to tolerate more crap, right? The more crap that you do, at some level, my body's going to break down before yours, or your body's going to break down before mine. So it's a person that can get away with doing the most amount of crap before breaking down.
Becomes a war of attrition, really, at the highest levels. There's nothing healthy about high level sports.
Exactly. So it's whoever can tolerate the most. Tolerate the most amount of crap, and you're going to go the furthest, right? So that's all it ultimately is, because no sport is done properly. There's no perfect form. There's no, Tom Brady's throwing a football. He's not throwing it with perfect form in terms of a healthy way,
yeah.
right?
Now let's go back to motivation. What motivates you?
I don't really think about that, to be honest. I just created a life where I have to work.
Okay, well,
Being homeless.
being homeless,
The fear of.
Okay, when you were younger, was there anyone that you looked up to that you thought, okay, I'm not saying, listen, I can tell you, I didn't really have someone like a role model, and I don't like to use that word too, heavy, because I don't think anyone's perfect. But was there an inspiration, or I guess when you're younger too, you look up to certain people? Who did you look up to? Who did you admire at least?
The honest truth is nobody really, but I knew that I didn't want to be where I was. It wasn't that I was looking at someone's life and thinking, that's how I want to be, or that's where I want to get to. It's more of just.
Was there any trainers you looked up to, like Paula Quinn? Was there any principals or anything like that?
No, because even getting into coaching people wasn't what I thought I was going to do. It was kind of just all happened.
Yeah.
I'm actually I have more motivation in my life now than I did before. Before growing up, my motivation was to not be poor anymore. My motivation was to, not grow up and continue and live the way my family grew up. Right. Whereas my motivation now is I have employees, I have people to feed, I have people that rely on me. So it's now my motivation has shifted, but it's more of a responsibility to other people. Whereas at one point it was just like, let's just do this for fun, try to make something of it, and then see what happens.
How much ego was involved in all this?
It's always ego. Everything is ego. Ego is a very good thing in business. Like in business, I want to see you die. Like if you're my competitor, I hope you die. But as a man, I don't want to see you die.
Yeah, you're driven to beat everyone and be the best.
Yeah,
essentially. Very cool.
Yes.
Costa?
You're looking at me.
What do you got, Costa? We got some more training stuff we want to get into here before we
What do you like now? Are you stick to the basics? Do you find as you get older? Are you finding some new things? What do you, without giving away any of your trade secrets?
Oh, we'll give away secrets.
Let's go. We're giving away secrets. Here we go, Terry.
We need a couple. Yeah, we need a couple secrets.
Well, I went through a lot of injuries myself, right? And it goes back to what I was saying about genetics and intolerance. So I got really injured because I was very good at pushing myself. Like that's what I'm very good at. But that's only going to take you so far in anything that you do. Like you can work 100-hour weeks in your job, but it doesn't mean you're going to be successful in the long term. You can make a decent amount of money in the short term, but you're not doing that for 10 years. You know, you're not pushing your body crazy hard for 20 years and not expecting it to break down on you.
Like Ronnie.
Yeah. That's what happens, right? Yeah. So now let's look at someone like Ronnie. Did he have to put his body through all of that to win those titles? Maybe not.
I don't think he knew any other way how, though.
Exactly. But there are smarter ways of doing things. And it's all about understanding how you load forces onto the body, right? Learning how to contract the muscle and load and create torque at every joint so that you're not loading an extensive amount of weight like that, right? Because what these guys are doing is just lifting a lot of weight, destroying their joints, but they're not even getting what they can be getting out of it if they were doing things properly.
Now, how many people have you trained that have won shows? You have stats like most trainers do. Like some guys are really specific with how many first, second, thirds.
I'm not one of those kind of people that collect stats because I don't think it really matters.
Really?
To be honest, you know?
I mean, every other trainer in Canada seems to have like
their
80
bios.
silver place or, you know.
Yeah. I've never.
No,
I've never
you don't put that out there.
No, it doesn't even matter. But
I see you guys on social media quite strong. I mean, maybe it's just your following, but your team seems to. I mean, I see that you guys are very supportive. Why? Why is that? What makes you think that your team is just so supportive?
I'm extremely strict on my expectations of our employees, myself, and even our clients.
You strike me like that guy that you have higher expectations. You must be someone who's a little bit difficult to live with.
Oh, very difficult to live with.
Hey, Amer?
Yeah, very difficult.
How's the personal life going?
Oh, well, let's not get
here we go. Now we're getting the juice.
I'm here for business advice. Personal advice.
Turn the table on you? Are you hard to live with?
Very. I actually don't talk too much, surprisingly.
But I bet you're probably one of those guys you want things done a particular way.
Yes, extremely specific.
I kind of share that trait with you a little bit.
Yeah.
I always say it's not right or wrong, it's my way.
Yeah.
But
what about nutrition? Because we know the training's great, consistency, work hard. What do you recommend for people in terms of trying to dial in their nutrition for their goals and supplementation and whatnot?
Keeping it basic in terms of nutrition is always good. In terms of everything, it's keeping it basic, because when you start overcomplicating things, you have to combat one thing with another, right? And then you just get so far away from the truth because you're trying to do a million different things that accumulate to 1% of what really matters. So in terms of nutrition, me personally, I don't even like deviating when I'm dieting from the day-to-day plan. Like there's no, okay, today I'm going to eat chicken instead of fish. Like it's just militant.
You know, there's the battle now between, if it fits your macros, the paleos, the ketos, the standard bodybuilding diets. Where do you weigh in on this?
You're going to lose weight on every diet as long as the amount of calories you are consuming is less than the calories you're burning. So you could do that with higher fats. You could do that with lower fats. You can do that with higher carbs. You can do that with no carbs. So there's many different ways to achieve that. It's what's most sustainable for you. I mean, you're going to follow a keto diet. Can you not eat carbs for the rest of your life? Because if the answer is no, then you're guaranteed to gain fat afterwards because you can't adhere. Adherence is more important than anything.
Okay, let's talk about resistance training. Tell me now the article that's in Inside Fitness in this current issue, where did this start from? Tell me
Sure, yeah. So it's understanding forces, right? Understanding how forces are applied to the body, how your body utilizes forces, right?
What a great magazine.
I think that's
it's available at newsstands everywhere.
I love it. Look at that, eh? How's that for a
jacked?
So the title, Change the Way You Look at Weight. So when you're lifting weight in the gym, right? Like let's say you name an exercise. Let's say a side shoulder raise, lateral raise. What determines anything in that exercise when you're lifting the weight? Like how much weight do you use? 10 pounds, let's say, 15 pounds.
Sure. Let's go with,
let's say 10,
pounds.
Keep it simple. 10,
yes,
because we're going to do math. So we got to keep it
kilos, simple. Doing kilos.
Okay. No.
That really confuses me. Yeah. When I was in Europe trying to lift weights, I didn't know what I was lifting. Yeah. Stones. Exactly.
Stones.
Okay. So yes, 10 pounds.
Okay. So
double
you lift
10%.
You lift 10 pounds. So is it are you lifting 10 pounds through the whole range of the movement, through the whole excursion of the movement?
No.
No, why not?
Yes.
No,
Guess
different
loaded-
angles.
it's a loaded
Forces. Come on, levers.
Okay, so what determines these forces?
Whichever, gravity.
You said
It's
a
your
word.
friend.
Gravity.
And levers, the
Right.
fulcrum.
Yeah.
You know, it's old school physics.
Yeah, moment arm.
Yeah.
Right? So the amount of torque, anything that rotates, there's something called torque. Torque is the effectiveness of a force, right? So when force is applied to something, it creates torque. When you, let's say you're using a crowbar or a wrench, the longer the wrench, the easier it is to turn the nut, right? Why? Because there's more leverage. There's more torque being created at that joint. So there are two components of torque. One of them is the amount of force applied, right? So, or the amount of weight, right? So let's say you're lifting a dumbbell, that dumbbell is 10 pounds. So that's 50% of the equation.
It's 100 for Terry.
Yeah.
Get serious.
Well, if he's doing side raises, with those shoulders.
150.
Okay, and the other 50% of the equation is what? The moment arm, the perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation, which is your shoulder, and the line of force, where the dumbbell is, right? So at every range in that movement, let's say I'm raising my arm up, I'm getting further and further away from the axis of rotation. So let's say I'm 10 inches away right now, times 10 pounds, that's 100 pounds of force. But let's say I'm only 5 inches away. Well, that's 50 pounds of force. So the force is changing based upon the force angle, based upon the moment arm, and then which then influences the torque of that joint, which influences how much your muscles being utilized. So if you understand that, and this is why most people have, elbow issues, knee issues, bicep issues, all these sort of issues, then we throw these terms around, like doctors throw these terms around. Well, you have tennis elbow, you have, tendonitis, all these sorts of things. It's really a lack of understanding of the forces that you are applying to your body, right? Yeah. And if you don't understand those forces, well, you're lifting weights wrong all the time. And yours, for the most part, the way most people lift weight is they lift the heaviest amount of weight or create the most amount of force in the positions they're weakest, which then continues to perpetuate the cycle of getting weaker where you're weakest and stronger where you're stronger until the point you get hurt, because your joint, your tendons, your ligaments, they can't tolerate that amount of force being applied.
So what about when the power lifters to keep a steady resistance to the whole, they'll use bands or chains or whatnot. How does that belong in a regular person's program, or do you even use that?
So powerlifting is a total opposite, diametric opposite of bodybuilding, right? Because powerlifters want to create a path of least resistance.
Right.
Whereas in bodybuilding, I want to create a path of most resistance. I want to create more resistance, create more tension in the muscle by lifting less weight. And it doesn't mean lift light, but I don't want to move the weight as fast. Whereas a powerlifter wants to move the weight as fast as they possibly can. So the faster they move the weight, they get to the goal, the lift is done. Now, weight or strength is actually measured in speed and in time, right? The more weight you can lift over a shorter amount of time means you're stronger.
Mass times acceleration.
Yes, makes you stronger, right? Mm-hmm. Therefore, if you do that, in bodybuilding, you're not going to create enough tension in that muscle. So you're not going to create any growth in that muscle. So in powerlifting, these guys want to lift the most amount of weight in the least amount of time. Whereas in bodybuilding, we want to lift the most amount of weight or create the most amount of force in the most amount of time. So if you're training like a powerlifter, you're not going to, if you're training like a hybrid bodybuilder powerlifter where you're lifting a lot of weight under a lot of time, your body's probably going to break down. You're not going to get the most optimal benefit of what you're trying to accomplish.
Very cool. Now I wanted to get into Canadian athletes. Who do you, or what do you think about the current crop of Canadian fitness athletes?
It's probably the best it's ever been in the history of the sport of bodybuilding and classic physique and all these divisions.
Is there some people you're looking out for who you think will do very well?
Depends which category we're talking about.
Let's go with men's physique. Let's go with some dudes.
There's so many different divisions now. Start with bodybuilding.
No, we're not going to get into bodybuilding. Right. I'd start with physique because I think most of the people who will be listening to this, let's look at physique. Who do you think has potential that you've seen? Maybe under your wing or even under...
Is Regan still bodybuilding or is he back in physique?
I think he's going into...
He did classic and bodybuilding. But I think he's going to do very well as a bodybuilder. Chris Bumstead's classic physique, and obviously he's done well.
These guys are our top guys in the country right now.
Yeah.
Is classic physique going to overtake bodybuilding, do you think? Is that the new... Because it's exploding right now.
I think it already has, no?
But there's always going to be a market for bodybuilding because it's a freak factor and people love seeing freak shows. People love seeing different and unique, you know, like a classic physique guy, you'd see him in a gym and thinks he looks really good. A bodybuilder in the gym, you'll see when they're in shape and you can't stop looking because it's rare, right? It's a scarcity. So we like things that are more scarce. Now, when you start talking about money, it's a whole other topic, right? Is the money there? Will it be there? Are people still going to want to do it in the future? I don't think so. I think we have more of an instant gratification mindset right now where people don't want to delay that for 10 years to become a bodybuilder. And it's just not going to happen. People aren't going to delay, you know, getting that gratification to build all that muscle for the next 10 years of their lives. People growing up on this now, you know, we're not seeing guys grow up wanting to be bodybuilders like 20 years ago.
I'm a bodybuilding fan, but I've seen now classic physique is just taking over. And I even watching Generation Iron 3 that comes out, everybody was talking about Regan, whereas 10 years ago it would be completely different, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Let's see. How many times have you been published altogether?
A lot.
No, come on.
Yeah.
How many different, different parts of the world? Because I know obviously.
Yeah, I've been in a bunch of different magazines, bunch of different publications, obviously Inside Fitness many times over the last.
Do you ever
8
work
years.
with supplement companies?
No.
Never wanted to work with
The honest truth
supplement
is
companies?
it was just
It's
never
not your thing.
Yeah, it was never my thing. It wasn't the direction I ever wanted to go personally. You know, I never really put much emphasis on that. In terms of being an athlete.
But what do you think about this is about a business point of view? How about making money or extra money with like that?
How's someone supposed to make money in this business these days? It's changed so much. How do you see a young guy coming up saying, or a young girl, I want to make money in this business? What's the way that you would tell them to go?
Well, I think if you have that mindset, you're doing the wrong thing. You can't do something because you want to make money. Here's the thing. When I started doing this, there was no money to be made. I just did it because I loved it. Whereas now everyone's saying, well, there's money to be made here. Let me go there. But they don't even care about the first thing about what they're doing. They don't care to help people. They don't care to, like, I'm the asshole, but I actually like helping people, right? Like I actually want to help people. I don't want to do things for the wrong reasons. I don't want to make a few $100 today if it means fucking you over.
Because everyone wants to be an Instagram model.
Yeah. And then what comes along with that? Well, I can make easy money if I'm an Instagram model. Like my employees are actually very different because the way they work, even though they're competitors, pros, high-level competitors, you know, they're in great shape, they're sponsored, they actually do it for the right reasons. And beyond any other one variable, I will only hire people because they truly want to help people. So if you're not, in terms of coaching now we're talking about, if you're not doing it for the right reason, you're in the wrong industry, right? Like get into whatever you like doing, just become very good at that and you'll make money somehow doing it. But most people aren't doing things because they want to be good at it. They don't want to master the craft. They don't want to do it for the right reasons. They just want to do it because like, oh, if I'm in great shape, people will pay me to send them diets. Like, and it's pretty easy because I can sit at home and just be an online trainer.
And then you're going to get in trouble if you're fake.
Well, there's no one governing that industry.
No, but the internet will call you out. We've seen with the big one who she was on Good Morning America, Brittany Dawn Fitness.
Yeah.
So the internet will call you out pretty quick if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. What do you make of these Instagram stars, Amer? What's your opinion?
I mean, it's not their fault for, you know, like a lot of them, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of them that I've seen give out a lot of shit advice.
Are there some that you like? Is there anyone in particular that you say, well, this person does a good job?
No.
Really?
No.
You tell me there's not one out there. I mean, maybe you don't follow a lot of them. I can't imagine you're sitting there watching too many stories, but from the ones that you've seen, there's not anything that catches your eye.
Honestly, no. No, there's none that I look at that think like they know what they're talking about or, you know.
How about YouTube? See, here's, you know, someone explained to me once that, you know, Instagram, I read this, I think it's like 4% of someone's day or something like that. So they're obviously going to show you that fakeness and they're going to show you the fakeness. They're being fake.
The highlights, yeah.
But if you're going to be on YouTube and people who actually, you could see them really walking around talking there, you could see if they're real or not. You know what I mean? I'm sure you could see someone and go, okay, wow, this guy's actually, you know, is there anyone that comes to mind?
No, I don't really follow fitness people on YouTube or Instagram. Yeah. Other than
things that come across your way, right? If someone says, hey, have you seen that? Usually with me, it's like, hey, have you seen so-and-so? You brought up some guy the other day, and I didn't know who it was. But
Which guy we send you
every
ones,
time,
and you don't know
every
what the
day.
hell I'm
So
talking about.
Yeah, I can't keep up with
I
it.
do it to make myself laugh because you just think I'm nuts.
But I mean, for me, I hear this all the time. It's like, hey, have you heard of my friend? He's big on Instagram. I'm like, well, no, I haven't heard.
Oh, Larry Wheels, he's awesome.
Larry, I'm sure he is. How big is he? Is he huge?
Dude, he's huge.
How big? How big? No, how big is he on Instagram? What's his following like?
A million people.
Probably a million.
Is he a million? Wow.
Dude, he was doing like bench pressing each 235 on each with the full barbell, each arm, 5 reps each.
Yeah, he's
Sick.
a freak.
So he's someone who's just special.
Yeah, he's sick.
That's
he's
genetic
doing it.
freak.
Yeah, he's
So
a genetic
something like
freak.
this you would watch. You would know who Larry Wheels is.
Yeah, like I'd watch their
It's
stuff like
entertaining.
it's like a
That's
just a,
entertaining.
wow,
It's entertaining,
cool
so-
awe factor,
Yeah.
you know. But
I
I'm not
can't
gonna
say-
learn anything.
How about Callum? What do you think of Callum?
No, I don't watch his stuff.
Really?
No.
He's actually one of the guys that I actually do
I
watch.
love Callum.
Yeah,
He's got a
Callum.
personality
He's got
and he
personality.
backs it up. To me, it's just like how it was Mitz's videos back in the 90s with Ronnie the Unbelievable.
They're
They're
just
just-
brought up a name, Mitsuru
Mitz-
Okabe.
Yeah, he's a
Wow.
pioneer,
He used
bro.
to wear knee pads because he
Yeah.
was always doing videos. He was getting down on the ground.
Yeah.
The one guy I did used to watch was Rich Piana. I used to like his videos.
He's great videos.
Yeah, his videos were.
You know,
very
and I just thought, listen, I mean, he's no longer with us, and it's sad. But I just thought he was like crazy. I just couldn't believe that people were buying this shit.
That's
I mean,
what
to
it's
be
a
honest
freak
with you.
factor.
I
People
liked
want to
it,
see
though.
freaks.
I liked his videos.
You know,
They were
maybe I'm a little bit
entertaining.
more of a traditionalist. I've been in this business since the 90s. And I was kind of against tattoos, even with the mag. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now we put them on covers. I know it's stylish
Well,
and
they're
trendy,
normal, yeah.
but I just thought it was weird that you're gonna get into bodybuilding and work so hard on your physique and then cover it up. And then Piana goes the next step, and he's getting guys. I mean, listen, my impressions are going to Germany, walking by his booth, seeing big guys with tattoos on their face, and it is a freak show, and them talking about steroids and drugs and all this stuff, and then they're trying to sell supplements. I mean, I just didn't think it was that cool,
made
but
him
I didn't
rich.
watch his videos.
But that's why I liked his videos. It's just not normal.
How about CT Fletcher versus Rich Piana? Was that even close for you guys or what?
Did they have
No,
beef? I thought it was like Jason
I don't
Genova
know.
versus Rich Piana.
I don't even know. I don't even know now who's big.
No, that guy
on-
Mac Truck.
Mac Truck. Oh yeah, Mac Truck.
Well,
I think
these
those are all.
beefs are fake, man.
Of
This is
course
all
they
bullshit.
are
No,
because
this
they know
is
it
like-
gets views.
Are we gonna
That's
do
all
this? Are we gonna do this at the
fake
pro
beefs.
show? We're gonna have some fake beefs. We're gonna go.
Yeah.
Slap
corner
some people
someone?
around.
Why
Let's go.
not?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So you have people competing in the Toronto Pro Show.
Yeah, we have a few people.
Now, how is that when you go down? I mean, I've seen you backstage. I always see you staring at people, and you look so fucking pissed. You look like for real. Like, don't talk to them. But then you come up to me and you kind of smile and you'll chuckle. But I mean, when I see you looking at people, you have these eyes where you're just like,
Game face.
yeah, it's like if lasers come out of your eyes, that's you right there. Is it because you're just so? This is your competitive.
I didn't notice I
personality.
do that.
Oh
I
my
wasn't aware.
god! Yeah,
I gotta tone it
listen,
down,
I would like to
guess.
be one of your athletes. The way you look at me, like, because you look at, I'm like, I kind of reminds me of Joe Weider when he used to stare at people and say, "Okay, we need to do this," but he's literally doing this backstage before they get on. I know it's maybe even more of a mental thing at that point. 'cause you're
Yeah,
not
at that
doing
point,
anything
it's like
physically
you want to
someone.
get people in their zone too, right?
Yeah.
Get them focused, but it's
Do you
just
enjoy it?
conditioning.
Do you enjoy going backstage now? Does it still have the same, you know?
Yeah, but I enjoy the process a lot more. Like I enjoy the process of getting someone to that point. I don't just enjoy like, hey, let's go on stage. I want to rush it. Like I just like getting them to that point, seeing them evolve, seeing people progress, which I think a lot of people don't like.
You know what? Let's talk about that side, the positive side. We kind of hit you a little bit hard earlier on, and
That's okay.
some people at Costa were calling you asshole and all
Oh,
that.
here we
but
go.
Let's talk about the positive side. I mean, I know for me personally, I like to make money. Obviously, who doesn't like to work and make a good living? However, when I see what it does to people, I'm sure there must be times where someone who was down and out, maybe, had a really car accident or had cancer or something there, and then came to you and worked with you, and then you helped transform their lives. Are there people particularly that maybe stood out to you?
I mean, we work with so many people from, whether it's women that have gone through, abusive relationships and, people that have,
Divorced, yeah.
lost,
Is there anything in particular? Is there anyone that may stand out? A young guy? Anyone?
Actually, one of my good friends who's been my client for about 4 years, he was 28, which was 2 years ago, and he lost his baby and his wife within the same month.
Oh, boy.
And then imagine being able to just,
Wow.
so fitness is just
like a therapy.
It's a great thing. It's an outlet for people. It's something that keeps you stable in life, right? If you have that routine, you have that stability in your life.
Well, people are looking up to you,
keeps
right?
you
I mean,
going.
there's a responsibility. Like I said earlier, it's not just feeding these people; it's also motivating them and inspiring, right? I mean, this is,
and it's what
probably
people
a part
don't
of the reason.
understand about fitness. They look at all stuff. Like, I know in my life, it's like whenever I'm going through some shit, it's like, look back, and that's something you can focus on. And just for 2 hours, you forget what's happening, right? And that's what people
2 hours. Are you doing 2 hour workouts?
Brother, what kind of
I'm
training?
talking
You're
half the
CrossFit.
time.
He's doing CrossFit. This
I'm
guy.
on the phone half the time, obviously.
What are you doing?
Yeah, let's get serious.
iPhone lifting or what?
Yeah.
I do eyebrow
I'm
lifts.
exaggerating. 20 minutes.
I spend 20 minutes doing
Yeah.
eyebrows.
But it's different. So it's so many things that people who haven't done it don't really understand. It's not just these vain people looking in the mirror. It's a lot more. And until you're into it, you don't understand it. Right.
Well, I think obviously you guys can relate. You know, you own a fitness magazine, but I think just naturally the human body is meant to do work, physical work, right? And without doing that physical work, you're doing your body a disservice. You're doing your mind a disservice. Like I'll go some days where I'm just tired by 3 p.m., 4 p.m. You know, I've been up all morning working with people, and then I'll work out at 3 p.m. I didn't eat anything, I didn't drink anything, and then I have more energy. So you're creating internal energy through working out, through secreting hormones into your bloodstream, through being able to release things like endorphins, release adrenaline into your bloodstream.
How do you
that
handle
naturally?
How do you handle stress
Working out, number one.
mentally? Is there anything you do? Is there anything you practice? Do you have any certain morning routines?
This is why it's very important for me that I work out first thing in the morning, because if I don't, the stress accumulates and it's too much for me. So I need to train in the morning and just focus, and it's just kind of like an outlet. More.
It sets your tone.
Yeah,
So what time do you typically get up at?
6 a.m. Not too early.
6 a.m. And do you eat? You have some breakfast?
No, I
or
always work out without
fasted
any
carb?
food. And then
Now are you going to your gym? You go to different gyms? What are you doing?
You think I would go to another gym?
What's that?
You think I would go to another gym?
You'd think, yes. So what kind of workout are you doing nowadays? What are you currently up to? What's your routine like?
Right now, I just train almost all my body parts in one day. So full body every day.
You had some pretty bad injuries.
Yeah.
Now tell me how did it affect you, not just physically but mentally? I had a couple phone calls with you. You didn't sound like you were, doing too well, because it's that back pain. It's that pain where I know you can barely move.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember we spoke a few times when I was going through that injury. It's just, it's rough. I used to lay on the floor all day. I couldn't really do anything. I was taking a lot of painkillers. So it's just really brutal. And then, having a business and owning a business and trying to maintain that, or even try to grow that while, you're out of service or out of commission, then starts to eat away at you mentally. So it's like all the worst things. Like you're not working out, which is something you enjoy doing. You're not moving at all. So, that's a huge disservice for you mentally. You're not doing your work, which is what you love doing. You're not going anywhere. It's like 3 months before I was able to even go anywhere without being able to have to sit down, or lay down. So I couldn't go to a mall. I didn't even go to a mall for 6-7 months after I got injured.
Did you hide this? Was this something that people knew about?
I hid it because I knew the way people are is they're going to look at one thing and say, oh, that's why he's doing X. I got 4 people to win a national show, the Toronto Pro Show, during that period. And nobody knew.
You're going through the pain.
But if I told people I was going through that, then they would say, they'd look for any excuse. Oh, you replied to my email late because you're this, or, it's just people always look for the worst in things. Right. So I just kind of hid it until after I went through it. And then, later in 2018, I talked about it, but I hid it up until then.
What's the game plan for the rest of the year? What do you got on lined up?
Well, now that our gym is done and, I finished school, now we're just focused on business, nothing else. Right. We have the foundation set. We're filming a lot of YouTube content. We're filming a lot of videos.